Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone, episode number 399 for the 12th of June 2016. Richard Saunders here with you from a delightfully sunny Sydney, Australia. Makes a big difference from the rain and sleet and snow and hurricanes and tidal waves and earthquakes and whatever we had last week. It was pretty fierce and there was a lot of damage done. And some of you from around the world might have seen footage of some of the beaches here in Sydney. The erosion from king tides in the storm has been terrible, and there are houses which are teetering on the brink of being lost. But yes, today is much nicer winter weather. Coming up on this week's show, what a mixed bag. What a selection. What a myriad of interesting reports we have for you. Well, I certainly hope so. We're going to start with a short report about the Labour Party here in Australia, the federal opposition. There's an election coming up, and their plans to scrap alternative medicine from being subsidised by the taxpayer. That's interesting. Then an update from the Good Thinking Society in the UK and their continuing pressure on homeopathy. And a lesson to us all, I think. They are very active, the Good Thinking Society, and certainly worth our respect and support. Then we have a guest editorial from Shelley Stocken, who's going to be talking about naturopathy. What is it? Does it work? Should you use it? You can probably guess the response from the Skeptic Zone on these matters anyway. Then we have Dr. Brad McKay. Skeptical Dr. Brad McKay from Embarrassing Bodies Down Under and the Australian Skeptics. He appeared on national TV on the Today Extra show on Channel 9, and thank you to the Today Extra show on Channel 9, an interesting morning type show. Well, that must be interesting. They have Dr. Brad McKay. He was on there to talk again about naturopathy and homeopathy and things like that. And he stirred some comment and controversy from his appearance. I'm going to play the audio of his appearance and then read some of the, replies he received via his Facebook page. Were they glowing? Were they complimentary? Were they patting him on the back? Well, not exactly. Then we have a story which appeared on the Australian Skeptics website about a financial company who took advice from a psychic. And you don't need to be psychic to imagine what happened to the company after they took advice from a psychic. A tale of woe coming up later on in the show. Then to round off the show, a very disturbing update from the story we had last week about the anti-vaccination flying monkeys, the anti-vax crowd disrupting a public meeting in Perth, Western Australia. One of the flying monkeys has gone on to Facebook to make direct threats against one of our friends. Right at the end of the show, you'll hear that disturbing update. But before we get into the show today, I will bring you a little update now about a story we have been following for some weeks. The chiropractor Ian Rossborough, and you remember him. He's the guy who posted a video of himself treating a 4-day-old baby by depressing her back. I think it was her back. Her? I think so. Doesn't matter, I guess. And you can hear the crack and the baby cries. And this has gone viral. Of course, it's been reported all around the world. In fact, one of the videos that I saw on a news site, which I'm just looking at the moment, theage.com.au, brings a disclaimer before you play the video. Let me just click that now. And the disclaimer says, "Warning, this video contains graphic images which may offend some viewers." And then there's the video playing there in the background. You can see it for yourself, but I imagine if you Google chiropractor cracks baby's back, you'll see that. But I'll link to that story in the show notes. The story, however, does say that the Melbourne chiropractor accused of dangerously cracking the spine of a newborn baby in a viral video, has been banned from treating babies. Dr. Ian Rossborough is also no longer allowed to use spinal manipulation therapies on patients aged between 2 and 6 years old, and any treatment he provides to patients under 18 years old must be heavily supervised. The conditions placed on Dr. Rossborough's registration to practice appeared last night, and that would have been on the 8th of July, to come after the Chiropractic Board of Australia was due to hold a hearing into his conduct in early June. A video viewed more than 1 million times had earlier emerged on YouTube showing Dr. Rossborough doing a manoeuvre on the spine of a 4-day-old baby after her parents, it was a girl, her parents allegedly said she had colic and reflux. The story goes on, if he treats children in the future, he must be supervised by a skilled registered chiropractor approved by the board under new conditions. Oh, yes. And the story concludes, Dr. Rossborough's office was contacted for comment, but there's no sign of a comment there. So that's an interesting development. I guess the Chiropractic Board have been shamed into doing something at least. Well, that's all for me at the moment. I'm going to run downstairs, feed the cats some chicken, I think. Chicken today, maybe. They like chicken. Henrietta and Maud, the Skeptic Zone cats, who are busily sleeping in their little cat boxes at the moment. So maybe they don't want to be disturbed. So maybe I'll wait on the cat's lunch. Instead, I'll make myself something which most of you will not appreciate, I'm sure. But those of you who do like Vegemite, oh, I've just lost half my audience, might try this. Okay, toast up some toast. Do you toast up, you toast bread to make, you make some toast, lightly buttered, or preferably cream cheese, just lightly. Smear some Vegemite on. Then sprinkle some sesame seed oil on top of that. Oh, wow, is that good? That's a taste sensation. I should mix it up and sell it as a thing. Or not. While I contemplate that, I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. And now a story that caught my attention thanks to our friends at the Friends of Science in Medicine. And you can check them out at Facebook or on their website, which is scienceinmedicine.org.au. And they're reporting a story that appears on the SBS website here in Australia. Labor scraps rebates for natural therapies. Labor being the opposition political party in this country, there is a federal election in a few weeks. The story reads, Labor has announced it will save $180 million by scrapping taxpayer-funded private health insurance rebates for treatments like aromatherapy. It does sound encouraging. The story says there's nothing wrong with seeking natural therapies, federal Labor insists. But taxpayers won't be subsidising them if Bill Shorten is the leader of the opposition and the man who hopes to be Prime Minister soon, becomes Prime Minister. Shadow Treasurer Chris Bowen announced on Friday that from July 1, 2017, taxpayer-funded private health insurance rebates would no longer be available for natural therapies. The measure would save $180 million over 4 years and $704 million over the decade. Mr. Bowen was quick to insist that there was nothing wrong with seeking natural therapies like aromatherapy, herbalism, or iridology. Quote, I myself use them from time to time. My personal favourite is the Bowen treatment. I can recommend it to you, end quote, he told reporters in Sydney. What a funny man. Quote, but in times of difficult budgetary situations, it is not appropriate for taxpayers to have to fund and subsidise private health insurance cover for these treatments, end quote. The measure is part of a suite of cuts Labor announced on Friday. Mr. Bowen also announced that Labor would continue the threshold freeze for private health insurance rebates for another decade to 2026, saving $2.3 billion. Now, that's an interesting move by the opposition in this time of a federal election, and it's something that groups like Friends of Science in Medicine and Australian skeptics have been calling for a long time, that these outdated treatments such as iridology and aromatherapy, and we could add acupuncture, homeopathy, should not, absolutely not be subsidised by the Australian taxpayer. And the similar thought, I know, is with our friends over at the Good Thinking Society in the UK. But it is yet to be seen whether the Labor Party will win the upcoming election. It's predicted they're not going to, but who knows? And even if they do, it will be seen whether they keep this promise. We will keep you updated.
Hi, this is Cassandra, president of the Brisbane Skeptic Society in sunny Queensland, which, well, by Sydney standards, is the north side of Australia. I'd like to invite you to join us at one of our many events. Not only do we have weekly social gatherings all over Brisbane and monthly lectures, we get along so well that once or twice a year we escape our city confines in Brisbane and go traveling together. We're always on the lookout for new ideas, new perspectives, and definitely new speakers. Want to find out more? Please visit us at www.brisbaneskeptics.org or search for Brisbane Skeptic Society on Facebook or Twitter. We hope to see you soon.
From our friends at the Good Thinking Society in the UK, goodthinkingsociety.org. The Good Thinking Society welcomes the National Health Service Liverpool's Clinical Commissioning Group's report on homeopathy funding by Michael Marshall, published on the 7th of June 2016. Continued funding or end funding will be decided on June 14th. The Good Thinking Society welcomed today's report from the NHS Liverpool's CCG on the subject of homeopathy, which showed overwhelming support from Liverpool residents for an end to funding. The report, which came about after Good Thinking's legal challenge to CCG in February 2015, concluded that 66% of all respondents to the consultation would never use homeopathy services in the future due to the lack of evidence for the effectiveness of the treatment and believing homeopathy to be an inappropriate use of NHS funds. Furthermore, 64% of Liverpool residents consulted and 73% of overall respondents wanted to stop homeopathy funding immediately. Interestingly, the report also found that many respondents did not understand the true nature of homeopathy, suggesting that the number of people calling to an end of the treatment may have been higher if it had been clearer that homeopathic remedies are not the same as herbal or natural remedies. Michael Marshall, Liverpool resident and project director of Good Thinking Society, said of the report, quote, "It's encouraging to see such a clear statement from Liverpool residents that homeopathy has no place on the NHS. The evidence is unequivocal in showing that homeopathic treatments are no more effective than placebo, and this consultation shows overwhelmingly that the people of Liverpool believe limited NHS funds should be spent on treatments that are shown to actually work. We trust the CCG will make the correct decision in light of this report, taking into account the lack of evidence for the effectiveness of homeopathy, as well as the overwhelming view of the Liverpool people that homeopathy should not be funded on the NHS." End quote. This report will be discussed by NHS Liverpool CCG at their upcoming board meeting on the 14th of June, and a final decision for homeopathy funding will be made then. And that's thanks to the Good Thinking Society, goodthinkingsociety.org, and we will keep you posted on further developments to this story.
Hey, Richard.
Oh, hi, Trish. Hi. Would you like a coffee?
Yeah, thanks. What are you working on?
I'm trying to come up with a new promo to play on the Skeptic Zone.
Who's it for?
The Good Thinking Society in the UK. You know, Michael Marshall, Simon Singh, Laura Thomas and that crowd.
Oh, yeah, I know them. Oh. They've been doing some great work investigating veterinary homeopathy.
Veterinary homeopathy? What, you sugar pills for cows?
I know, right? And also they're looking at some of the dodgy medical advice given by UK chiropractors.
Really? Okay, look, I'll mention all that in the promo. Now, their website is goodthinkingsociety.org.
And they've recently been reporting on the resurgence of faith healer Peter Popoff.
Peter Popoff? Great. Okay, look, thanks for that. It gives me something good to think about.
Around 10% of Australians have seen a naturopath for one reason or another. Chances are you, someone you know, or that person over there, have visited a naturopath in the last year. But popularity isn't everything. Recent reports of a Sydney naturopath allegedly endangering the life of a baby, the son of a naturopath shunning radiotherapy for alternative therapies, and a disgraced Gold Coast doctor turning to naturopathy rather than maintaining her registration, raise the question, what's the deal with naturopathy? So what is naturopathy anyway? Trying to explain naturopathy is like trying to draw a sound. There's no definitive method, technique or remedy that you can point to and say, that's naturopathy. It comprises an astounding array of concepts centred around the idea that health can be maintained without surgery or drugs by enabling your body to heal itself. Naturopathy can include herbal, vitamin and mineral supplements, dietary advice, massage therapy, homeopathy, reflexology, kinesiology and many other approaches to optimum wellness. Rather than struggling with what naturopathy is, it might be easier to define what naturopathy isn't. Naturopathy isn't medicine. One of the major drawcards of naturopathy to those who are wary, disillusioned or downright terrified of doctors is that it provides a natural alternative to modern medicine. But it's tricky to ditch medicine without also discarding important things like standardised ethics and scientific evidence. Medicine represents the culmination of scientific knowledge over many lifetimes, constantly strengthening and correcting itself with data, measurement, controlled testing and published studies. Naturopathy represents centuries of traditional folklore, ancient wisdom, plants and a decent smattering of pan flutes. Even naturopathy isn't naturopathy. When you see a registered health practitioner, you can assume you'll have more or less the same experience as you would with a different registered health practitioner of the same persuasion. There might be some variation in quality, manner, price and waiting room decor, but you'll generally get the same bang for your buck with one doctor or psychologist that you would with another. The thing is, unlike GPs, physios, orthopaedic surgeons, dentists, pharmacists and nurses, naturopathy isn't standardised or independently regulated. There has been a gradual push for the regulation of naturopaths in Australia for several years, but little agreement between the industry's professional associations about what standards naturopathy should adhere to. As a result, your naturopath could be a university graduate giving out solid nutritional advice, or a bored housewife with a massage table giving out sugar pills and liver failure. In Australia, both can legally call themselves naturopath and charge you money. Is naturopathy natural? Naturopathy is all about keeping healthcare as natural as possible. But is that always a good thing? Mother Nature can be a cruel old bitch at the best of times. Anyone who's ever had a broken rib or a face-eating virus can tell you that, or mime it in the absence of a face. Of course, nature gives us lovely things too, like fresh fruit and vegetables. We just have to know which ones won't kill us. Navigating the perils of nature is difficult. Luckily, one group of people has done the hard work for us, testing nature to determine what can heal us and kill us, in what amount and when. That group of people is known as scientists. Does naturopathy work? An Australian government review of alternative therapies in 2015 found no clear evidence of effectiveness for naturopathy. However, with so many different practitioners, treatments and approaches huddled under one umbrella, it doesn't seem fair to say that naturopathy as a whole is effective or ineffective. Some naturopathic recommendations, like eating fresh vegetables and getting enough sleep, are scientifically proven no-brainers. Others, like homeopathy and coffee enemas, rely on outdated concepts of human health and have woefully inadequate evidence to back them up. Is naturopathy safe? Yes and no. No treatment with a measurable effect can be 100% safe. In medicine, naturopathy or any other health modality, a worthwhile practitioner will consider the relative risk and benefit of a therapy before offering it. A common danger of naturopathic remedies and recommendations, whether they work or not, is that they are commonly undertaken in place of proven medical treatments. Some naturopaths advise customers to forego other treatments, stop taking medications or avoid vaccination. When naturopathy turns bad. Naturopaths put themselves in a position that says, I can look after you. A lot of them take that position very seriously, care deeply about the quality of their work and practice within their skill set. Then there are the irresponsible, dodgy cowboys who abuse the trust and respect of their customers, abandon their duty of care, and cause harm with their lack of scientific knowledge. In an unregulated industry, it's hard to choose a good naturopath over a bad one. Indeed, some customers have only discovered the consequences of their choice after their cancer has become untreatable. So here's my free, unqualified advice. Eat better, work less, see a doctor.
Shelley Stocken is a freelance writer and sceptical consumer. She can be found on Twitter at Shellity, that's at SHELLITY. In the past week, our friend Dr. Brad McKay appeared on national TV here in Australia to discuss the subject of naturopathy. Here is the audio from that brief appearance.
Also making news, a rise in the number of Australians turning to naturopathy.
A recent study revealed that we're using alternative days.
I think so.
Yeah, a recent study revealed we're using alternative medicines more and more, but do they actually work? So we brought in Dr. Brad to tell us more about this. First of all, Dr. Brad, naturopathy. What is that?
Naturopathy, it's a bit of a loose term. Like, a lot of people will call themselves naturopaths, but there's a wide variety of different things that they might do. So they might be involving iridology, massage therapy, looking at diet and nutrition. They can be doing a wide range of different things, even kinesiology. A lot of it isn't evidence-based, and that's why they're sort of on the fringes of medicine and healthcare. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of hard to...
What is homeopathy?
Hard to explain everything. Homeopathy?
Yeah.
Homeopathy is crap. It's totally...
Oh, you're homeopathobes?
It's based on the principle that will cure something that's similar to it, and it's just watered down...
I always wondered what that
watered down molecules to having nothing in it, and then saying that water has memory, and it's all a little bit of crap.
Oh, tell us what you really feel.
A lot of people, though, are into alternative medicine and therapies. So how can you be sure that the naturopath you're going to is credible?
Well, that's a big issue. So there are some people that go through quite extensive training, and they might have like a wide range of knowledge in nutrition and diet. But then you might be seeing somebody who's done like a course for a few years, and they don't have the same sort of standards of practice as well. If you go and see a GP or a paediatrician, then you sort of know what you're going to get. They might be a little bit like grumpy or whatever, but you know that you're going to get the right antibiotics and they're going to be treating you properly. There's a standard of care that's there. But if you're going to a naturopath, then they might sort of give you peanuts or walnuts or elderberry. Like there's a wide range of different things, and they go, oh well, that's sort of acceptable.
Does it work?
Well, I think some of the dietary advices, it can be quite good, but it's obvious, often quite obvious if they're saying like exercise and diet. But if they're doing iridology, like looking at your eyes and trying to tell you what your liver's like that's just like rubbish.
Right. Really?
Yeah. So your eyes don't change colour, unless you've got jaundice. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of things that people will have as placebo that they will take on board for it.
Is it a safer alternative to modern medicine like antibiotics or chemotherapy?
Well, I think one of the biggest problems that I have working in medicine is that I will often see people that have been disgruntled with medical care, then they might see a naturopath for further treatment. I'll often see them after that, after they've been spending $600 a week on therapies and pills that they're taking, on supplements. But also if they do have something like cancer or if they do have an infection and they're not having the proper treatment for it and they're being treated with something that is this alternative, then they can present really late. And often if it is cancer, they're presenting too late to get help.
All right, Dr. Brad, look, thank you so much for your time this morning. Of course, if you have any questions or concerns about your health or about naturopathy, visit your GP.
Needless to say, Dr. Brad McKay's appearance on that show created some backlash, we might say, from the general population. Well, from those people who are fans of homeopathy and naturopathy. And they've certainly let Dr. Brad know their feelings via his Facebook page, which is, by the way, DOCTOR, Dr. Brad McKay, that's MCKAY. And you can find Dr. Brad on Facebook. Here are some of the comments left by disgruntled viewers. Alexandra writes, I am disgusted with the condescending and inaccurate garbage you spewed about naturopathy. Everything we do has to be evidence-based in my degree, and it's people like you who wish to treat me as if I were a child who needs decisions made for her instead of an adult with valid experiences and education that makes me consider working in Europe with my integrative friends who respect me. This country's media can be so embarrassingly backward. My best friend is studying conventional medicine, and guess what? She respects me too, unlike you. Kerry writes, Dr. Brad, I'd like to hear you tell Prince Charles that homeopathy and alternative medicine is crap. Sarah writes, and this is verbatim, I feel sorry for you to be so ignorant and living so much in the past. Do you actually do research or know how to read it, because I have read some of your comment and watched you on national TV sound like a complete idiot today. Maybe you're too busy trying to be a TV star that you forgot how to be a medical professional. To help you, I have taken some time out of my busy day to educate you and provide you with just a few samples of studies on homeopathy and herbal medicine. The first point I have to make is homeopathy is the second most used medicine in the world and integrated into the healthcare and hospital in India and many parts of Europe. Natural therapies is on the increase. Let's think about that for a moment. If you go and see someone and it doesn't work, what do? Keep going or stop going? Not sure about you, but I wouldn't waste my money if it wasn't working. So logical thinking would make me believe if something is on the increase, it means it's working. So here's some research for you to look at. Following that are a long list of links, including one that says homeopathic medicine is nanopharmacology, and the parting message, some of these are lists of studies that you need to do a little of your own research into, as I don't have time to do it for you. Lynn writes, Dr. Brad, very disappointed with your uninformed, opinionated comments on naturopaths and naturopathy. Some people are not so dumb that they will take your word for truth. These days, people do their own research precisely because of the comments such as you made. There is lots of research on complementary medicine, and for you to dismiss it as, pardon the language, crap, is very ignorant. Antonina writes, Dr. Brad, I am so disappointed with your segment on Today Extra. We have a lot of great naturopaths helping people. complementary therapies came way before orthodox medicine. I know some great doctors who support our industry. Please stop slandering our profession and the great work that our people do. If you don't believe we do a great job, that's okay. Please do your research. Your sources aren't entirely correct. Nutritional herbal remedies are complementary. Note that word, and is there to support, not hinder or hurt people. Kathy writes, very unfortunate you gave a misinformed view of naturopathy on the morning show. Would have been nice if you'd researched it properly and told the public we study a 4-year health science degree, same time dietitians and pharmacists study for. Joe writes, I am disgusted in your comments this morning on naturopathy. All it shows that you are clearly misinformed, uneducated and unprofessional. If you need to rubbish another profession to make yourself feel better, I feel very sorry for you. There are other comments, not all of them disparaging. There are a few there who are in support of Dr. Brad, but it does give you an interesting flavour of what people in the audience had to say. Mr. Cat's origami jewellery, pendants, earrings and cufflinks, all handmade by yours truly, Richard Saunders, and featuring many popular designs like Origami Pegasus the Flying Pig. You can find the store at facebook.com/Mr. Cat's Origami or by following the link at skepticzone.tv. From the website of Australian Skeptics, skeptics.com.au, written by Tim Mendham, 1st June 2016. Boss of failed stockbroking firm sought business advice from psychic. The Australian Financial Review has reported that Glenn Rosewall, executive chairman of the failed stockbroking firm BBY, was consulting a psychic and, quote, vibrational healer, end quote, for the last 12 months prior to the firm's demise, according to sources. The Australian Financial Review says that it understood Rosewall was using the services of Nevine Rottinger, quote, for counsel on business decisions including corporate deals, hiring and firing decisions, and employee budgets and forecasts, end quote. BBY collapsed in May 2015, owing millions to clients and the St. George Bank. Rottinger, pictured on the page with a dolphin, was occasionally seen in BBY's Sydney office with Rosewall. She runs a company called Essential Energies and was previously resident psychic on Triple M Radio. Her career has, quote, embraced the sciences, business, vibrational healing, radio psychic and teacher for spirit. Vibrational essence have always been an important part of my energy healer's repertoire. In 1996, I had already been using flower essence and gem elixirs for a number of years when I first clairvoyantly noticed goddess energies in people's auras. During the next 6 months, Sam, my inner angelic guidance, taught me how to repair, activate, and in some cases further develop my repertoire of goddess energies with which my clients have habitually operated. At first, I did this work manually, so to speak, during channeled healings. After having become more adept with this type of healing and quite familiar with a number of goddess energies, Sam asked me to begin channeling the essence, unique energetic pattern, for each goddess into bottles so others could access their healing without me having to be there. To retain their purity, the channeled energies bypass my personal energies altogether. End quote. According to the Essential Energies website, it's, quote, essences and elixirs are sourced from the vast overriding archetypal energies which operate through creation. Archetypes are in fact the fundamental technology of creation. Our products are channeled vibrational essences and are more multi-layered in effect than flower, shell and gem essences in most instances. They are also more powerful and long-lasting in effect than many forms of energy healing and attunements generally available. At Essential Energies, we do not believe humans need fixing, but we notice they often need reintegration, having all their soul structure aspects switched on, realigned and recalibrated to function more effectively. Through subtle and gentle, the reluctant energetic, mental, physical and emotional changes and the evolution which we have noted in users of our essences and elixirs are profound. End quote. The Australian Financial Review reports that KPMG, the liquidators of BBY, identified shortfalls in the company's clients' accounts that may indicate it was trading while insolvent since 2011. At the time of going to press, the Australian Financial Review was unable to get a comment from Rosewall, Rodinger or KPMG on the psychic claims. That was about as hard to read as it was to comprehend, and you can read that for yourself at the website of Australian Skeptics. That's skeptics.com.au.
Hey, Heidi.
Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi, Heidi.
Oh, hi, Maynard.
Hi, Maynard.
Oh, hi, Joe.
Nice day in this park, yeah?
Yes, great weather.
Oh, look, a unicorn.
A unicorn? There are no such things as unicorns, silly.
Yes, there are.
No, there isn't.
Hey, ladies, what are you arguing about?
Joe thinks unicorns are real.
They so are.
Let's look this up in the Skeptics Dictionary.
The what?
How can we do that in this park? There are no computers here.
You ladies probably don't know about the Skeptics Dictionary app, available now for iPhone, iPad and iPod Touch in the App Store.
Yeah, we do. We've been listening to the Skeptic Zone for years, you know.
Yes, okay. The app lets you access all the great Skeptics Dictionary articles when you're on the go. Here, let me look up unicorns.
Oh, cool. Heidi, prepare to be proven wrong.
It says here the unicorn is a creature from fables.
Aha.
Actually, I see now that someone just dumped their ice cream cone on that horse's head.
Thanks, Skeptic Dictionary iPhone app.
That's just some guy in his undies.
And now here's a follow-up to a story brought to us by Heidi Robertson. You will remember last week she covered the shameful and disgraceful behaviour of the anti-vaccination crowd invading a public meeting in Perth, Western Australia, to talk about, the meeting was to talk about vaccines. And the anti-vax crowd, known as the Flying Monkeys, flew in and disrupted the whole event. If you missed the report last week, I strongly recommend you hear that report. It's one of the better ones I think we've had on the Skeptic Zone. Here is a brief update. The man who was making the video at the time on Periscope, one Sean Du, who is prominent, voice at least is prominent in the video, has now made threats against our friend Reasonable Hank at the Reasonable Hank blog, reasonablehank.com. And I quote from the blog, Sean Du is a Perth resident who shot the fame recently for his abhorrent behaviour at the Perth Telethon Kids Immunisation Seminar. Du intimidated, defamed, interrupted and filmed immunisation experts as they attempted to answer questions from the audience. Du was widely congratulated by the Australian anti-vaccination community, including the University of Wollongong's anti-vaccination PhD Judy Wileman, who was also part of the howling anti-vax mob at the Perth seminar. At the 9th of June at 10:13 in the evening, Du uploaded a public video to Facebook in which he made explicit and direct threats of physical violence towards me. That's Reasonable Hank. Du has previously confessed to having an extensive criminal record, and there is a link on the blog. It is believed that he is still on a good behaviour bond or similar, as admitted by himself in another online video. Now here's the excerpt from the video uploaded by Sean Du, and for the sake of the fact that the Skeptic Zone tries to be somewhat family-friendly, certain bits of this have been beeped out, but I'm sure you don't need me to fill in those blanks for you.
Anger and darkness has a place, and they rest around with trolls like Reasonable Hank, who have destroyed so many lives. And listen to me, Reasonable Hank, you piece of pelican. Whoever you are, Peter Tierney, right? The only time you'll see anger come from me is when I deal with trolls like you, Mr. Reasonable Hank. How many lives have you destroyed, you piece of pelican? I'm coming for you, mate. And if I find out who you are, and I can get my hands around your scrawny little neck, because I bet you're a scrawny little bastard with no soul, or whoever you are, Reasonable Hank, hear me well. Hear Del Bigtree and hear the world. We're coming for you, mate. So you better delete your goddamn Facebook profile. You better get the hell off Twitter, and you better stop harassing victims with your bull. Because you, my friend, are not my friend. And if you want to be my friend, come and say hello. I've broadcast it everywhere. What more do you want, Reasonable Hank, Peter Tierney? You farmer trolls, wherever you are, supposedly they exist somewhere. I don't know who's scared of these people, man, but...
Needless to say, complaints have been made against Sean Du for this latest threat, and we will keep you posted. PsyCon Las Vegas. No, it's not an illusion. PsyCon is coming to Vegas, and you're not just hearing things. For too long, skeptics have been wandering the desert, parched and aimless, wondering when will they find an oasis? But just on the horizon, hope beckons. At last, a chance for critical thinkers from around the world to celebrate with the brightest minds and biggest personalities in science and skepticism. It's no mirage. It's PsyCon 2016, and this time it's in Vegas. October the 27th to the 30th, come to the Excalibur Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, where brilliant speakers will make the City of Light truly shine with skeptic stars like evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins, science education champion Eugenie Scott, SETI astronomer Jill Tarter, and many more to be announced. And yes, James the Amazing Randi will be there too. PsyCon 2016 is a production of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, the people who bring you the Skeptical Inquirer magazine, the group that began organised skepticism a generation ago. And what better location for a conference of skeptics than a city full of illusions? Don't wait. Unlike claims of celebrity psychics, conspiracy theorists and alt-med hucksters, this is no illusion. PsyCon is real. Register now at www.sciconference.org. That's CSI conference.org. Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone this week. What a mixture. What an array of interesting and varied stories we had. And wasn't that last one a little bit disturbing? And it's very telling that this guy who was making these threats was being widely praised by the anti-vaccination crowd. Now, a big thank you to those people who chip into the Skeptic Zone. Only 99 cents a week, or some people chip in more, which is very helpful. The show at the moment, and in fact for a long time, really doesn't pay for itself. But your subscription does help. In fact, if it wasn't for people like you subscribing, there simply would be no show. I would just have to stop. So it does keep the show going. And looking at the figures, the facts and figures, so many of you are listening to me now in the United States of America, from California to Rhode Island to Florida to Oregon, Washington State to Nevada to everywhere. Lots of people in Texas, by the way. I'd like to visit Texas one day. And So I say to you, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you will consider contributing too. This is an Australian podcast. It comes from Australia. There's lots of Australian-centric stories, but so many people listen to me in the United States of America and other countries too. England, there's a large listenership, and in fact, across the whole of the UK. Ireland too. Hi to my friends in Ireland. Norway, thank you very much. People in Norway like listening to the show. It's quite amazing. And I do get letters from all around the world, which is just fantastic. And thank you for that. But yes, you people in the United States, because of the exchange rate at the moment, and you contribute 99 cents a week, it actually equates to a bit more because I get a bit more on the exchange rate here in Australia. And what's the old expression? 99 cents a week, that's just penny change. So if you haven't subscribed to the Skeptic Zone before via PayPal at skepticzone.tv, may I encourage you to do so. It simply keeps the show going. There would be no show without it. Coming up on next week's show, show 400, which represents almost 8 years of weekly podcasting from the Skeptic Zone. We're going to introduce you to our new reporter. We have a new reporter. You'll just have to sit tight until next week to find out about our new reporter. Very exciting. Lovely to have her on board. More about her next week, and she'll introduce herself, and I think she's got her first story at least lined up very soon. But apart from that, I'm not really sure what will happen on episode 400. I better have a chat to Maynard. He seems to be full of some ideas, I think. I'll have a chat to Maynard. We'll cook up something. Oh, can't wait to hear it myself. But for this week, this is Richard Saunders, Henrietta, and more the Skeptic Zone cat signing off from Sydney, Australia. You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone podcast. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for contacts, an archive of all episodes since 2008, and our online store. Please support the Skeptic Zone by following us on Twitter at Skeptic Zone, liking us on Facebook, and leaving a review on iTunes. You can also show your support by subscribing via PayPal for as little as 99 cents a week. The Skeptic Zone is an independent production. The views and opinions expressed on the Skeptic Zone are not necessarily those of Australian Skeptics Inc. or any other skeptical organisation.